All right, everybody, it's your boy Fernie here with another brand new Urban Legends video. Once again, coming from the urbanlegendsonline.com website. This one having to do with one that's been around for a good time period. In fact, I remember hearing about this a good number of years back. It's just one of those urban legends that just doesn't go away. People still talk about it, such as the case here, which I'm doing for this video. But it has to do with a video game urban legend, one that also involves a curse. There's two versions of it, and I'll showcase both of them here, and then I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on them as well. So without further ado, let me go ahead and I'll share it here. Some of you may recognize it right away. It's known as the Tails Doll Curse. So without further ado, let me share that information here. Let me know what you guys and gals think on it as well. So here's what it says. Ever played Sonic R? Possibly a small percent of you have heard of the Tails doll. Here's one of the stories I've heard of from my close friend. A man came home from work with a gift for his son. He had picked up a new video game for him, Sonic R. It was a racing game, and when he gave his son the gift, he was so excited to get it and play it right away. That night, he played the game with his son, and they had a great time. A couple of days later, the boy was almost finished with the game. His dad was there in his room when he beat the last boss, and he roared in excitement when he finally did it. He smiled and asked him how he liked the game as he watched the credits screen. And so he said, wait, what's that? He asked the boy when the Tails doll appeared on the screen. The boy said it was the Tails doll. That's all that he knew. And so he's told his son it was time for bed. During the night, the curious father went into the boy's room and turned on the TV very quietly to play the game for a while himself. He noticed that he now had the option to play as Tails doll. So he chose him to tag up with some of the gang. The game was fun until he tagged him up with Sonic. Now the screen went black and the game system shut itself down. The man decided it was time for him to go to sleep since he had to go to work in the morning, so he crept out of his son's room and went to lay in bed with his wife. At around 2 a.m., he woke up when he heard thumps on his door. He assumed it was his son getting up to ask him to get something. He told the boy to stop, go back to bed, but the thumping kept happening, and at one point, he noticed a little shadow coming from under the door. Tails kept popping up into his head, and so he got out of the bed and slowly opened the door. Then he heard someone say this very softly, "You are coming with me forever." It was a doll, an evil, blood-covered, possessed little doll. It was the doll from the game. It had to be. And then here's the other version associated with it. Here's what it says. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who lived in California and loved to play the Sonic R video game on the Sega Saturn console. Apparently, the video game was cursed. He had unlocked Tails doll in the game. He played a game mode called Tag Race and used Tails doll to tag. It was Tails, Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, and Supersonic. That night, his TV froze and he saw Tails doll on the screen going back and forth. He jumped out and killed the poor little kid. And then it ends with a way of how to bring about the Tails doll curse for yourself. I'm not going to read that here, only because I don't really like doing that summoning stuff. So that's it. That's pretty much all the information. You never know. I know it's just as like a urban legend that is like 99 point something percent false, but I don't like anything involving summoning things, even if it is something involving just a fictional item. It's just a different world, so I don't want to showcase it here, but it is there if you want to read it. It's again on the urbanlegendsonline.com website. So that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this here. This is an old one, right? Some of you have probably heard this years back like I have, and then there's various versions of it as well on YouTube, including quote-unquote actual footage of this Tails doll and the way it pops up in the games and so on. I remember seeing one like years back, and it was just obviously like manufactured stuff. This wasn't real. It was just somebody that was able to do that type of animation and so on. But apparently with this urban legend, if you do something the right way when it comes to the game, you accidentally unlock a curse. That's when this Tails doll can essentially come to life. It'll pop out of the video game and it'll start following you around again, almost like a curse. And then by that point, it is too little, too late. And as far as where this started, who knows? Somebody started it somewhere, and then it just grew into a life of its own. And again, we're still talking about it to this very day. But if has any of you here heard any other versions of this Tails doll? It makes me wonder if every time there's new Sonic game out there, if there's a version of it that gets updated as well involving this Tails doll curse. Why Tails of all things, though? That's an interesting thing to ask, because it, like, when Tails was introduced in any of the Sonic games, there would be no indication that he was ever this evil, like, at all. So why Tails? Like, why did somebody decide this urban legend was perfect for at least incorporating a secondary character within a Sonic game of all things, and to turn this character around and then make him something like Freddy Krueger? It just seems like it's otherworldly. Like, why of all the chances it's Tails? But apparently that's the way it is. But if anybody has more info on that, let me know below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.